Ticket to Heaven, GMM new BL about two boys who meet at seminary school falling in love. The first episode just dropped, and I want to share my initial thoughts. Before I go in on my thoughts on the episode, I want to address the elephant in the room, that being the subject matter of this show. So, this is GMTV's first time really addressing religion in a BL, and it's already ruffled some feathers. I saw this comment on my drama list the other day that really PO'd me. So it was 3 paragraphs long, so I'm not going to read you the whole thing or any of it because I don't want to put this person on blast. What the gist was: religion should stay out of entertainment and you shouldn't mix BL and religion because it runs the risk of alienating your audience. I disagree with this opinion heavy. First off, I am not a religious person, and I do have my gripes on religion, specifically Christianity, and this includes Catholicism. That being said, this comment, in my opinion, is very ignorant to the fact that religion has been the source of a lot of queer people's trauma, and it has been used by bigoted people to further their harmful opinions. I think what this commenter was trying to say was that their personal faith and their love and enjoyment of BL are separate from one another, and BL should not depict their religion in any way, and that their religion does not dictate what they consume in entertainment, which I don't necessarily disagree with. However, my problem with this comment is that when you say that a piece of media, entertainment, and religion have to be separate just because you yourself separate your faith versus the entertainment you watch, that is where my problem lies. Your personal beliefs does not dictate everyone else's decisions. If you don't like the fact that BL is commenting on religion, then you don't have to watch this particular BL. It's not like there's a host of BL, especially from GMTV, that are tackling difficult subject matters. So you could literally skip this one and just watch the next one, and you will be fine. This comment also points out the hypocrisy in some fans of BL, that they are okay with watching queer media as long as it doesn't depict their beliefs and their ideology that has directly harmed queer culture and queer people. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't like that. If you are going to watch queer people on your television, then you need to be ready to grapple with some of the ideology that you hold that directly harms them. You don't get to watch us on screen. You don't get to watch our lives and be entertained, but then in the real world you don't support us. That's not how this works. That's not how it should work. That is how it works, unfortunately, but that's not how it should work. People like this who throw around entertainment should be a form of escapism and should not deal with real world politics or issues are just upset because the media that they enjoy are throwing their harmful ideology back in their face. They are the straight women who enjoy seeing 2 men kiss on their television, but they don't enjoy having to think about these 2 men and the struggles that they actually face in the real world. They don't want to think about how they vote affects these 2 queer men kissing on their television. The hypocrisy is killing me because it's never the queer people who are watching queer media who are saying entertainment should be a form of escapism, because they know that there are pieces of media whose whole purpose is escapism. And especially in BL, the whole genre is basically one big escapist fantasy. So the moment a BL, especially from a production company like GMMTV, who does not take risk at all, start pitting out a BL that actually speaks to real queer people's experiences and the trauma that they have faced, especially with organized religion, the moment they touch on that, you get upset and you scream, entertainment should be a form of escapism. Go watch the 1,000 other BLs that don't even touch religion or anything else that of substance from the actual queer experience. I'm not sorry, but your bigotry is showing. And this isn't to say that we can't have a discussion about how real world issues are handled in entertainment and how these queer trauma experiences are depicted in BL. Yes, let's have a discussion about that, but the argument shouldn't be that trauma and real world issues like religion shouldn't be depicted in BL, period. No. Let's talk about it so production companies like GMMTV can handle this experience with care and they can depict it more realistically and in a more nuanced way. Yes, let's do that. Because I think everyone knows that you can be religious and you can support queer rights. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. And having a BL depict this nuance is amazing. And I'm not even saying that Ticket to Heaven is doing that. The first episode is the only one that came out. So who knows how this BL will go. What its true themes will be, only time will tell. Speaking of the first episode of Ticket to Heaven, let's get into it. Now, the episode starts with GMMTV basically covering their ass and tells the audience that nothing in this series is meant to pass judgment on any religion. I thought this was very funny just because of the discourse. I don't think this disclaimer is gonna save your ass, GMMTV, but I hope it does. So we start off with this BL 20 years into the present in 2025. And this is also, they say that there's a title screen that says the Marriage Equality Act was just passed. So we have Bart going to a church because someone who is important to him is getting ordained. And it pans, so he's sitting at the pew and it pans to whoever that important person is. But instead of seeing who that person is, we flash back to 20 years in 1996, and that is the first glimpse we get of Tan. So already this scene sets up a mystery of who is he seeing at that church that is getting ordained in 2025. Obviously, we're meant to think that it is Tan, and I'm not saying that it isn't Tan, but I'm saying how much of a twist would it be if the person he's seeing isn't Tan, and Tan is either, oh my god, dead, or is like left the priesthood altogether. Like, wouldn't that be a cunty twist? Like, oh my god. So we're set up with this mystery, which I think is really amazing. The rest of the episode is just us being introduced to Tan and his backstory, and also Bart and a little bit of his past. Bart's past is way more of a mystery than Tan's. Tan's whole backstory is that his parents died when he was really young, and one night he went to the church to pray, and that's where he met Father Arnon. And Father Arnon tries to comfort the young Tan because Tan asks Father Arnon if he can see his parents in heaven, and how many good deeds does he have to do to get to heaven so he can see his parents. And Father Arnon is basically like, you will get to see your parents if you walk this righteous path of the Lord. And then he asks young Tan if he would like to stay at the church. And so that's how Tan gets roped into this religion. And it's a very touching scene because it shows how distraught Tan was and how given this lifeline of religion, he clings to it, all in hopes to see his parents. I think the scene shows how sometimes religion can prey upon people at their most vulnerable and give them something to believe in, which causes them to hope, and that's a good thing. But I also think that for some people, they realize later on how they were sold a bill of false goods. And I think you get the other side of that, whereas Tan is very into religion and it gives him hope. later we meet Bart and we learn a little bit about his backstory, which is that supposedly his father walked in on him doing something fruity, and this made it back to his school bullies, and he got into a fight, which I'm assuming, this is me assuming now, I'm assuming that it led him to be expelled, and his father enrolled him into this seminary school to straighten him out, quote unquote. And in the episode, Bart is portrayed as having a chip on his shoulder, not wanting to be there, obviously, right? He was forced to, presumably. And he discusses with Tan in one scene, like, if he actually believes in God. Tan says yes. And Bart is very disillusioned, and he's like, well, maybe your God and mine are different, because my God never helped me. And so I think the dichotomy between the two shows the different religious experiences some people may have, right? In Tan's case, religion gives him hope and it helps him, whereas in Bart, religion has never helped him, and he has no love lost between him and God. The episode ends on a particular scene where Bart and Tan, because of plot reasons, they end up spending the night in an abandoned pool. When they wake up, the priest and everyone else at the school finds them, and it is very ominous of a scene. Like, the music and the cinematography, everything about it makes it seem like the priest and everyone else caught them, like, literally with their pants between their legs, like they were doing something naughty, when in fact they were literally just sleeping on a backpack in this abandoned pool, not even cuddling, mind you. But from what I got from it, I think the reason that the priest looked so alarmed and concerned is because he knows of Bart's past. This is just me assuming, my speculation is that the priest knows of Bart's past and the fruitiness of it all, and he is worried that Bart is going to infect Tan with his gay cuties. And so I think that's why the priest looks so alarmed, but I'm not sure about that. Regardless, though, the end of this episode had me hooked. I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait to find out. I also don't know if we're meant to like the priest, Father Arnon. It does seem like he has everyone's best interests at heart. I don't think he's trying to do anything nefarious, but, you know, the road to hell was paved with good intentions. I don't think the help he is trying to provide is the help that Bart needs. And so I think he could unintentionally do some damage to Bart. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I saw some comments on my drama list that were discussing this episode, and some people thought that they didn't do enough to explain Tan's instant attraction and connection to Bart, and I would have to agree with that. It is very much like, soon as Tan sees Bart, he's smitten. Like, there's just something about him that he kind of hyperfixates on. I don't think that they really do enough to try to explain that, but I can chalk it up to hormones, because, like, I'm assuming that these are teenagers that we're dealing with, and when you're that age, someone could just have a particular look about them, and then you make up the rest. Like, your hormones, your body does the rest. Like, the only thing you two can have in common is that you both like this band, but in your head, that's enough for you to get married. That's enough for you to believe that this person is your soulmate. To me, it's believable enough. And I like Tan as a character. I really like him. He seems very helpful, very nice, a very, like, good dude. And Bart seems like he has a chip on his shoulder. Like he's going through something, and he does need help, but like I said, I don't think that's the help that the church can provide. And I'm very interested if this is going to be like Bart is the devil leading Tan away from the righteous and holy path, and if it is, I could be down with that. The series also reminds me of those like late 90s, early 2000s gay movies, and because of that, I already know this is going to end in tragedy and sadness, and it's going to make me cry my eyes out. but I have tissues on standby, so I'm ready. Overall, I thought this was a good first episode, and I can't wait for episode 2. I don't know if I'm going to do weekly reviews or if I'm just gonna wait until the series finishes, because it's only what, like 6 episodes, so I don't have to wait long. I would love to know your thoughts on the episode in the comments below, and also your thoughts on if entertainment should just be a form of escapism, and how this BL in particular is handling religion. That's all. Thank you for watching.